Hey guys, Chris here with Work to Game, and today I'd like to talk about one of the more anticipated titles for the Nintendo Switch, Pokemon Star. As a huge fan of the series, I was incredibly excited when they even started to hint at this in an interview last September, that they definitely wanted to come out with a game for the console. They did go on in a second interview to say that that was a little less official, that they understand that it would take quite a bit of work, which makes sense. I mean, it has a totally different set of specs than any console we've really seen before, as most do, and so you would expect them to kind of have to rework some character modeling, rework some camera angles, and so even just on the back end, a direct port is going to take some work. Now, many sources keep hinting that it's supposed to come out within 6 months of launch, or it's supposed to come out in 2017. I think a lot of those are just hype. I think a lot of those are, you know, somebody offhand goes, I don't know, next year or something. And then we start taking it as law, we start publishing articles on it. And so I really just don't know that it's reasonable to expect a Pokemon this game this year. But that is not because I don't want one. And Pokemon's been around for over 20 years now. 1996 is when we saw our first big game. It is 2017 now. And there's been over 60 titles just that have been ported worldwide. So when you start to talk about just Japanese exclusives, anything like that, where it was actually called Pocket Monsters originally, that's a lot of content to come out in that amount of time. So I don't want to sell them short on how fast they can do this. It just seems like Generation 7 with Sun and Moon really hasn't gotten any legs yet. So we're most likely going to see a game that stays within that generation. And I would just love to have it on my Switch, whatever I get, whenever I get it. And the question is, what is that going to look like? We have seen the game do very, very well on mobile ever since Red and Blue, all the way up to Sun and Moon, and lots of generations in between, selling millions and millions of copies and being a consistently respected title for each mobile platform. Even Pokemon Go, which was not really a Pokemon game as much as just a skin applied to a mobile game, has just taken off, and I'm starting to see Pokemon cards in restaurants and stuff, and I'm seeing kids play these again, which is a huge flashback to my childhood. It's crazy to see those cards making a big resurgence here, and a lot of people forget that the game did very well on console, not only with the Pokemon Stadium games, but Pokemon Rumble, some puzzle games. There are a lot of it, like 20 or something like that, titles that just came out on actual home consoles. So when you occasionally see somebody offhand be like, oh wow, a Pokemon game for my home console, well, that's not weird. They've come out with for every console since N64, and to top that off, Nintendo Switch is kind of weird, because if a game came out for home console, we could consider it for Nintendo Switch, and if a game came out for mobile, we could consider it for Nintendo Switch. So to see games making that jump where it's like, oh, they've never once had an Oblivion game on mobile, it's like, well, that's because it's fitting on the more home console aspects of the Nintendo Switch. So I think that this is going to be a unique platform, and that it allows games to come together and do things they either haven't done before or be played in a part of the home, either on the TV or in your hands, where that's previously been inaccessible. But the reason I'm coming to you now is actually that just recently Game Freak has possibly leaked that they're hiring some new devs. And so this is kind of the first confirmation from either Game Freak or Nintendo that really says, yes, it is possible a Pokemon game is in the works, and if so, that you could see it maybe as early as this holiday season or sometime early in 2018. Now, it is rumored that these job applications say that the work is going to continue through 2018, so they're either working on some DLC or well through launch, or launch is just that far out. And one thing to remember is Game Freak has come out with games besides Pokemon. They have existed longer than Pokemon. They've been around since 1989. First Pokemon game they did was the one in 1996. And they've even come out with 2 games in the last year. Giga and Tembo the Badass Elephant, which is an incredible game name. And I have not played either of those games, but it is something to keep in mind that they are developing things outside of Pokemon, so even if they are actively hiring, you can't promise that this is a Pokemon game. But this is the news that is the closest to confirming that Pokemon Stars is coming to the Nintendo Switch, so I am excited. I'm just not as confident as Eurogamer or MCV to say that Pokemon Stars is confirmed, and I'm willing to predict a date, and maybe they have a better source than I do. I'm just a guy in a room that happens to have a bike in it. But I am excited. I think this is enough confirmation for the general public to start to kind of keep it in the back of their mind. But the question is when. And I really can't decide whose fault that would be if it took that long to come out. Should it just be taking that long? Is this Nintendo kind of bumbling over themselves like they did with the Wii U, where you had games that got delayed and delayed and delayed, and that led to part of the reason the console failed? Or is the Nintendo Switch actually being run incredibly well? Because it might just be a stroke of genius that they're keeping this hype train going all the way through the year by coming out selling 1.5 million units, which outpaces the PS4 back in its heyday, which is the one to beat right now. And then they're coming out with Splatoon over the summer, and they're coming out with Mario for the winter release, and then maybe push Pokemon to early next spring, so that you're consistently having a fresh round of people sell out that were saying, you know what, none of the previous games did anything for me, but this one will. Because there was no reason to come out with more titles at launch if you already sold out. If you already hit 1.5 million units at shipping, there is literally no reason to just push all your hype out and marketing out the door early. And a game selling out for a 12-month cycle would be insane, just having these fresh waves of, for some reason it's sitting on eBay at $500–600 because you just can't get your hands on one. And the other big fear is that Pokemon Stars is simply going to be a port. Look at Mario Kart. Mario Kart is basically just the Wii U version. They're throwing in the DLC, they might put in a few new maps, a few new characters, and they're just going to bring it on over. But with the Wii U kind of being considered one of the less successful Nintendo consoles, there are a lot of people who didn't play Mario Kart on the Wii U, and so that's still going to be fresh to those people. And so if you take that and you say, okay, Pokemon Sun and Moon is just going to be ported over from the 3DS, well, okay, there were 13 million units of Pokemon Sun and Moon sold so far. There's been almost double that at like 23 million 3DSs sold. So that's not so bad. You've still got 10 million people just on the mobile platform that haven't really played it, and maybe 3/4 of them don't want to. But when you pair that with all the people who on the Wii U didn't really play one, and all the people who are buying the Nintendo Switch that did not buy a 3DS or a Wii U, I think that with Pokemon Go and the resurgence of the trading card game and all these things, you have a lot of hype that could introduce the very same game to an entirely new set of people on this platform. I personally didn't play Sun and Moon, so this series of breadcrumbs telling me that I could get a chance to take that content and enjoy it on my Switch, which is the first video game console, or even Zelda is the first video game where I have actively not wanted to be at work in the middle of the day because I'd rather be playing. Yes, I would always rather be playing games in general, but when I got the new Titanfall game, when a new patch drops for Final Fantasy, while I am excited, I am ready to leave work on time, but I am ready to go do my job. I like what I do for a living, and so I am ready to go do that and get out of the house and meet other people. But with Zelda, no, I could just be home, which is why I don't bring it to work, because I would never get anything done. And so I would love to see a Pokemon game generate that same amount of excitement, and I'm hoping every title for the Nintendo Switch generates that amount of excitement. And so I am hopeful with this series of just, oh, so-and-so knows something and so-and-so knows something, that we are getting a game, they are taking it seriously, they are taking their time, and they are going to come out with something in a reasonable time schedule for the platform that just blows our minds. And if I missed something that came out after this video, or I just haven't seen it yet, please share in the comments below. I think we're all excited for Pokemon Star. We're all excited to see what the Nintendo Switch does as it gets more confirmed titles from this theoretical list of 80 that they have in the works. Maybe Pokemon Star is one of them that they're just not showing. I am excited. I don't want to be so excited that we're all disappointed with whatever comes out. I want to set reasonable expectations, but it is something worth looking forward to if indeed it gets confirmed and if indeed we have a ship date and I can actually give them my money. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like video below if you like this video and you want to see more like it from Brian and I. This has been Chris with Work to Game. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. YouTube has a pretty cool video waiting for you over here. Our latest vlog is down below. For those of you new, subscribe is over here. And all of our other contact info is just right below me here. Thanks for watching.